So thanks for doing this today, Fred. And you've been on the internet for upwards of 11 years now, I think.
Yeah.
That's
Uh,
amazing. But I should be more specific, YouTube.
yes, YouTube was my passion at the beginning.
Hmm.
Now, now I'm doing just about everything. Too
Oh,
many things. I get so many emails from various social media that my email has become practically useless. In fact, I've lost work over it because, I didn't realize that somebody was making an inquiry for a video job, and when I finally got round to deleting all the garbage, there in the middle of it was this important email that I missed and missed an opportunity.
oh my. Yeah, through all the fan mail or what kind of emails do you get typically
Well,
for these ads?
I get notifications like, and I should turn them off, and I'm going to turn them off. Um, Twitter and Reverb Nation are my big ones right now. Reverb Nation must send me 5 emails a day. I don't know.
Oh
And
wow.
yeah, and Twitter is just about as bad. And I get some from Pinterest and and different ones, LinkedIn,
Right.
and you know, I belong to these social media, but I don't necessarily follow them. The main ones I follow are YouTube and Facebook and G Plus. You can't do them all. It's impossible.
No, it's true. You're very spread out over the Ethernet here.
Yeah.
So, what inspired you to originally get onto YouTube, and what has kept you going all these years?
Well, what inspired me originally, I wasn't really into computers at the time, but I kept hearing little bits on the radio, little things about YouTube. People were, because it was new at the time, and I listened to CBC a lot, or at least I did in those days. And there were quite a few references to YouTube, and I thought, oh, that sounds interesting. And I've always been interested in video uh, ever since I was 17 or 18 years old. Um, so I thought, well, if I get on a computer, I'm going to go on that YouTube right away, and I did. And I uploaded a few little videos here and there. Um, and then one day, what kept me interested really is I uploaded Who Needs a Movie, which went viral and is getting close to 2 million views now.
Wow.
Still, still a popular video on YouTube. Well, that you know kind of focused me on staying with it, and right now I think I've got about 500 videos on YouTube on my one channel, and I have another channel which probably has another 60 or 70.
Well, that's amazing. So, when you take your approach to videos, there's always a creative element versus so many people who I watch on YouTube who are either just pure vlogging or doing trying to do a podcast or something. You definitely go the route because you've got like animated series, you've got entertainment pieces. It looks like you've got all kinds of stuff, and you also do vlogs.
Yes.
So
Uh,
you're very like diversified in terms of creating different kinds of content, not just one type. And I think that's interesting. And I think in terms of YouTubers and people who are just breaking out on the YouTube scene, I think that's an important message, isn't it? To do different types of media, not just stick to one thing.
well, it works for me. I have a hard time staying committed to one thing. I like, I get bored with stuff, so I want to move on to something else. Yesterday, I found myself making a 2D series of drawings, frame by frame, computer drawn, but hand drawn on the computer.
Hmm.
And I seem to go back to that periodically. I mean, I'd really love to do all my animations that way, but it's just too time consuming. I use a computer animation program. I use a
Right.
couple of them actually. So,
Oh, that's
But
great. So what kind of programs? How did you find them? Are they free or did you
oh
purchase?
no, I bought them. They're not expensive. Um, I use one called iClone
Hmm.
from Real Illusion, and another one called Crazy Talk. One is 3D animation, the other one is 2D animation. Uh, the, the the 3D one I quite like because it allows you to do an awful lot of stuff. The 2D one is a little bit frustrating because it's a bit more restricted. However, it's very good, and I think most people wouldn't even understand what I'm just said if they tried it, because I've been interested in animation for a long time, and I got certain things I'm looking for. Um, but if you can do an awful lot with both of those programs, they're
I
good.
really like your political satire series where you seem to have Donald Trump. You've drawn that yourself? Is that right?
Uh, and there's two styles that I have done political satire of Trump. One is with the 3D program,
Mhm.
and I create the character myself, but you don't actually draw it. The program doesn't work that way. With the 2D program, the Donald Trump's face was actually drawn by my sister, who very graciously provided me with a bunch of caricatures of Trump White House people. Yeah,
That's great. So it's kind of a
yeah,
family affair. The
yeah,
creativity
yeah,
runs in the family. That's great.
yeah. Well, now that you said that, I have to say my twin daughters are artists,
Hmm.
quite good artists. They sell their work, so that's a good indication.
Wow.
and
Oh.
and my sister is an artist, and she also sells her work. And they're
And
all uh, they're all good artists.
and you're
And
an artist, obviously,
and I
right? So
and I'm an artist. Yes.
tell me a bit about this whole Jimmy Kimmel thing. I heard years ago through the grapevine that you were approached. I think you came on a podcast I was doing once and told us.
Yeah, I was approached, and I should have just grabbed it and gone. But this was at the time when Who Needs a Movie was really kind of hitting its place on the internet, and I didn't know how to react to these things. I didn't have much experience,
Mm.
and so I put up a money barrier, which they didn't bite on. Otherwise, I would have been on Jimmy Kimmel. I have been featured on other talk shows, Jay Leno, for example.
Mhm.
Um, I wish I had gone on Jimmy Kimmel.
What did they say to you? What was the offer that they were making originally? Like it's I'm curious
Oh,
about that.
they were going to fly me down to LA, and they were going to pay my expenses.
Of course, this was before Tosh 2.0 or Tosh 0.0 or whatever that where Jimmy was gonna, I guess, feature a YouTube creator like yourself in the early days of YouTube. How many years ago was this? First of all, this had to be like
Oh,
7 or 8.
oh, I think it was even 10. Yeah,
Wow. Oh
yeah, it
man.
was it was quite a while ago.
So they
I
wanted
don't.
to have you on the show and interview you,
Yeah,
I
well,
suppose, and show.
and I said I wanted X dollars.
How
And,
much did you propose?
I think I said 750 a day or something like that. And it was a mistake because let's face it, I would have got $1 million worth of publicity for being on the show.
Well, that's it. That's it. And in the media industry, it's a common known. But I guess because you and I, you and I hadn't been in the media industry before, so
I
it's
was
free
new,
advertising,
and
right? Yeah.
I was suddenly very popular, and I didn't know what I know now. That's for sure.
I used to.
However, I gotta say, there's all kinds of artists, friends of mine, and not just friends of mine, all kinds of artists
Mhm.
that are working for free all the time,
And it's too.
trying
Yeah.
trying to get their foot in the door,
Hmm.
and musicians, video people, yeah, comedians.
Oh, especially
Yeah,
comedians. Yeah,
yeah,
I've
yeah,
dabbled
yeah.
in that realm. I used to go on Much Music a lot when I had hair, and I was in my early 20s. My first time I was 18, and Much Music would actually invite me back and as a guest for different things, and use me for my psychic talents. And there came a point where my mom, when she was living, said, you know, you should get paid for that. These are like appearances, right? So I had a friend who was a producer at Much, and I tried to propose a bill. Like I said, look, I want, and she goes, how much do you want? I said $1,000, and she wrote back going, that's unheard of. I mean, that's ridiculous. It was all through email. So I actually said, oopsie daisy, oopsie whoopsie. I meant 100. I just typoed that extra zero in there, and they ended up giving me $100 check. As I can't remember what they called it. It was some kind of an honorarium, they called it.
Right,
So they
right.
wouldn't officially be a part of my or associate with me, but that was and I regret that too, because I think that for me burned a bridge. I went on a couple more times after that too, but you know, in media, it's like, you know, celebrities, when they go on radio stations or stuff, they don't get paid because it's free advertising. So that's how you have to look at it. And I just had that funny experience with Much myself, so I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to be taken advantage of, and you are an artist, and you want to, in a sense, take yourself seriously. And I think we can sometimes take ourselves too seriously, which actually brings me to the other question.
Oh,
There are a group of people on YouTube who actually watch your videos, and they honestly, there's this debate that goes on. I'm not sure if you're aware of it, but some people think that your style and your comedy is in a sense self-satirical, like you're making fun of yourself with these movies, like you don't even take the movie seriously. I've gotten to know you, so I know the truth is that, you know, you're putting your best art out there, and this is actually a genuine attempt. You're not in a sense making baloney. You're putting some genuine stuff out there. Have you ever heard of that little debate that went on behind the scenes where people were confused whether you were deliberate or not?
sure.
Yeah.
That's all. That all comes from Who Needs Movie,
Yeah.
because it was, you know, it was one of my very early attempts, and it was quite amateurish in its own way, and it featured Sharon along with me, and she definitely has not got an outgoing personality. She was kind of quiet. People remarked on that quite a bit. They made
Mhm.
fun of it.
Mhm.
Um, Sharon and I don't work together anymore, so it's not a problem. But it bothered me at the time, and you know, I I don't mind people tearing a strip off of me for whatever reason they want to, but when it comes to Sharon, I don't appreciate it, not at all.
Absolutely. No, well, I love Sharon, and I love you too. I've followed you for years. You've been on podcasts of mine now. There's an old movie that you did with Sharon, and I think it was a part of a promotional video you were creating for a man who had some type of geodesic sphere that, when you're inside of it, it promoted healing. And you've got video of, I think, Sharon in a recliner inside of this sphere and talking about the technology that he was using. I missed that. That was one of my favorite videos, and I can't find it on your channel anywhere. Where'd that go?
I really couldn't help you there, Ro. I don't even know myself. I'm trying to remember that video. You sure it was me now?
Oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah. It
Yeah,
was one of
okay.
those rare gems, but I guess it's gone into the
Y- y-
ethers.
Yeah, well, 500 videos later, more actually, if you count other things, probably 1,000 videos later. Uh, Hard to pick them all out.
Right.
And I've done them under different, like I had another channel, well, I suppose it still exists, uh, called FS Fred's Movies 6. And I had another one called Fred's Vlog. So, but things kind of get dropped along the way. I try to put it all in the one channel now, pretty much anyway.
Right, right. Well, um, one of my favorites was also the Mother's Day series, where you'd go to the buffet with Sharon, and I guess your kids would be there, but you
Yeah,
didn't usually feature them. Are you going to do any more of those types of things, or is Sharon completely off the radar for this?
well, she is off the radar. It's not out of the realm of possibility, but she'd have to ask me to do it.
Right.
Like it's not something that I'm going to pursue because it's been a source of frustration in the past. So it's up to her. Yeah,
Well,
I'd
that's
love to do
fair.
more with Sharon. I'd love to do more with Sharon. but she has to be the one to initiate it.
But she doesn't mind the previous videos still being up. It's more so the I guess the taking of the video that becomes the hassle for her. If
Well,
I'm hearing you right.
yeah, she's definitely got a different point of view from mine. She even had her own little video series for a little while, but I don't know. She's just not comfortable with the whole thing, I guess. That's the
Fair
only way
enough.
I can look at it. I mean, I'm a media hog, so I contrast to her in that way. She's more private,
Right.
likes to live in her own space, and yeah.
Well, it's certainly
So,
understandable. If anyone's hearing patting, by the way, I've got my little one here in my lap.
oh,
Also
your
wearing camera.
cat. Oh, good. Yeah, I miss cats. I always had cats and dogs and horses.
Wow.
Yeah,
Like a farm.
yeah. For a lot of years, I had horses.
Are we going to get any more grilled cheese or cooking videos? I know you and I talked a bit about doing a spaghetti sauce at some point.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to make any promises because I find that when I make promises, I just am a disappointment.
Right.
But yes, I do plan to make cooking videos.
Oh, I think that'd be really great.
Yeah. I want to do one on how to make bread because I got my own little method. I'm a very individualistic person. I don't use recipes much. I make my own recipe. I mean, I use recipes, but I write them myself.
Right.
Would be a more accurate way to say it.
Right.
And I have my own bread recipes, which I have developed.
Now, I'm off bread right now, but my favorite was cheese bread.
Oh, you're not gluten-free, are you?
Oh, no, I'm gluten-full.
Oh,
But
okay.
I really I'm trying to lose weight, so I'm getting off bread and everything. But if you have a cheese bread recipe, that'd be great as well.
Well, I don't think I would choose a cheese bread recipe as a way of losing weight, but what I would choose would be whole grain bread, and what you put on it would have to be nutritious. Like I wouldn't recommend jam, for example.
Right.
Well, I mean, there's nothing wrong with jam,
but it's sugar.
Most commercial jams are loaded with sugar. Some people make jam without sugar, and it can be very good. Some people make jam without sugar, and it's kind of hard to eat.
Or Marmite.
But if you put a little lettuce and tomato on there and whatever.
I do enjoy that. I do miss my tomato sandwich. I love tomato.
Yeah. Then it would. I guarantee you, it would not be a negative as far as weight gain. But if you eat white bread that all the nutrition's out of, well, it's going to affect you.
Yeah. That's it. It's lots of greens. That's what I'm doing right now. Is tremendous amounts of vegetables.
Yeah, greens, veggies. I don't eat meat myself, but I do eat fish. So and I'm going to be doing some volunteering at a local market, running their kitchen. So there will be meat there. So I'll be preparing it. So I'm not like averse to other people eating it, but I don't eat it myself.
Right. I wanted to do a cooking show for a little while. I got some props in my kitchen. The theme was going to be a Star Trek cooking show, and I would wear the uniform, and the one who would taste test my food would have a red shirt on, like the old joke about the red shirts dying. Yeah, and I was going to make all kinds of stuff, but it's so much work, and that's the other thing that I want to say. I mean, people see videos on YouTube and take it for granted how much work goes into making what looks like the simplest video. Even this interview, you and I have tried this like 5 times now, and I've had to go searching for months to find a good program to record Skype calls, just to do a simple little recording of a Skype call, And yeah, it's quite the undertaking. And it's much easier nowadays than it used to be when you had to cut film literally with scissors.
Yeah, I remember those days very well.
Mm-hmm.
My current vlogs, I got this thing called Fred's Minute.
Right.
Thinking of all this editing and etc. that goes along with, and it still takes me to do a minute takes me at least an hour and a half, and when I used to do vlogs that were 6 to 12 minutes long, well, editing could take me 4 or 5 hours.
My
Yeah,
God. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I do a tiny little segment series called Paranormal Fact Files, and that takes me a good 4 hours. I mean, and I'm not even on video for that. I just do voice and show pictures and clips and videos, but the editing is unbelievable. I mean, I always look at film like as you take the film, it's like you end up with a big block of stone, and editing is where you're chiseling it into a statue. I always use that analogy because it feels like that. Like the amount
yeah.
of work that goes into it is
That's that,
unbelievable.
that's a good analogy.
Mm.
Um, Fortunately, I get the odd video that somebody pays me for, and I'm looking for more of those. And as far as I like taking videos of musicians, and they usually don't have any money to pay me, so I'm a little bit soft-hearted with them. But I'd really like to make some music videos that are, really properly done, and not just taking a busker on the street corner. I seem to do a lot of buskers.
Right. Well, that sounds great. How do people get a hold of you to if they want to do a video with you?
Oh, I generally just come across them and set up my camera. I was in the park the other day and there was a little concert going on. I didn't even know it was going to be on there. And I took some video of a couple of the artists with my cell phone because my other camera, which I had with me, battery was dead. So handheld on a cell phone. But I should be posting something on that soon. I'm not quite sure where I'll post it. Depends how it looks when it's finished, I guess.
Well, that's
But
great.
that's mostly. Uh, otherwise, I usually come across them face to face, and like if they're paid customers, they're people that I get to know from one way or another, and they get to know my work, and they hire me.
So how should people find you on YouTube? What should they search?
On YouTube, they should search for Fred Spencer.
Fred Spencer, FredSpencer.
Yeah.
It's been a pleasure talking with you. Thanks again for doing this.
Oh, thank you for having me on.